Hi Virgo, welcome to your weekly reading. This is for April the 11th to the 17th. General reading as usual. I can't read to every single Virgoan as much as I'd like to. So do keep that in mind. It's a general reading. It's for the week. We'll do True Black to begin with, my favourite deck, and then we get some clarity with the Golden Art Nouveau as normal. I shuffle these off camera because, otherwise you just watch me shuffle cards. Where's the fun in that? Balance. This is the Six of Pentacles. So you've got the three pentacles at the top, and then there's three really dusty, dirty ones down there that are kind of being ignored. So it's about balance. Let's have a look and see what goes next. Knight of Swords. Cutting through the nonsense, clarity, candour. Just not taking any of that rubbish. Near past, we have the Queen of Pentacles. She's a safe space. You've got birds and snakes in perfect harmony underneath this canopy. So she's nurturing, caring, mothering. It's a great energy to have. That's your near past. Queen of Pentacles there. Near future. Justice, first of the major arcana. Love this card. It's literally like it's been lit up from behind. You can't see her face because she can't be swayed. Justice. So again, two quite karmic cards there. The Knight. The Page. It's the Page, not the Knight, is it? Page of Swords. So you've got the Page and Justice. And then what's going away from the situation? Wow, something happened last week that was quite big. You got the Tower card. And then, whoa, in for an exciting week this week, Virgo. This is called the Crucible, and basically that's you under this incredible, intense heat. It's a test, but it's a test you pass successfully, so that's really good. So you're not in for a quiet week, and it wasn't a quiet week last week either, but it's definitely about, without even reading these others, it's definitely about this test and justice, the whole kind of clarity here. So if there has been an imbalance, you're going to get called up on it. If there hasn't been an imbalance and you've gone, do you know what, I treat everyone the same way, it's that honesty. So these two cards kind of move away. They're going out of the situation, and it's these two that are coming in. So with the Page of Swords, like kind of cutting through, he's actually chopping through this sort of clinging brambles around his feet, to cut through to get to the truth of the matter. And this is how you find yourself, how you see the situation. That's the Eight of Cups, which is a bit of a, I've had enough of this, I'm just walking away. So the octopus is leaving its nest. It's going out into the great unknown because it knows it can't stay where it is. It's time to move on. Let's bring that into shot. Okay, this is how other people see the situation. The Four of Cups, the meh card as far as I'm concerned. Normally it's a person leaning against a tree with three cups in front of him that it just don't excite him at all. And the fourth one, which is even like an unknown offering, still doesn't interest you. So interesting that. Five of Swords, never like to see this card. In this particular reading, the card, that main sword there is draining the energy from the other four. It's wearing them down. The flowers around it are growing really well, whereas the others are all sort of dying away. And it's a card of it's kind of a card of victory, but it's also a card of no war. You come out of any war completely unscathed. So even if you win the war, you've still lost. There's a lot of effort for the result, and this card kind of asks you to think really hard. This is in your hopes and fears. It's almost saying, is it worth the battle? To end up in that situation where you're lording over somebody. And again, it ties into this balance card here. Something to do with balance next week, Virgo. You've got to find the balance between, if this was a love reading, find the balance between spending all the time with your partner and spending no time with your partner. So there's a balance to be found there. And then in the outcome, we have the Hierophant. I quite like this card, particularly in this deck. For a start, there's a couple of things. One, he's sat on this sort of interlocking throne, made up of the same blocks, and how it's all about the greater good, how things come together to form something better. So you've got this interlocking mask that's coming down, and the idea is it covers his face because he's not important. It's the idea that's important. It's the greater good that's important here. So it's almost doing something. It's being the bigger person. So on here he's got a beehive on top of his staff. And I always say this, but Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor, and he said, if it's not good for the hive, it's not good for the bees. And I think that's really important. So that's your outcome. Sounds looking pretty good. I mean, one of the things that the Hierophant talks about is, ideas can live forever rather than a person. That's why he's masked. So it's, pass these ideals down and they become part of a greater eternal whole. It's a bit like Batman, isn't it? If you don't know Batman's Bruce Wayne, if Bruce Wayne dies, someone else can take on the mantle of Batman. So Batman can live for hundreds of years, because it's not a person, it's a thing. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite a tricky week next week. Certainly not going to be a quiet week. Energy on the bottom, Emperor, order, control, stoicism. He's sat on a really solid plinth there. You've got a prism forming in one hand, a list of rules and regulations in the other. I mean, it's powerful energy. There's no negative to any of that. But I'm trying to get him in shot somewhere, maybe up there. So yeah, you've got this crucible at the top, this test that you're going to have to go through. And again, these two sort of justicey cards on top of this balance. So whatever's happened recently was a test and is a test that you're going to pass quite nicely. Down here, there seems to be a lack of interest in the result, which is really telling. So let's just draw 3 cards on the Art Nouveau one. I love the drawings on these, but the illustrations, but they've got quite a shiny foil on them, so sometimes they don't work terribly well. Well, there you go. So there's a battle next week, but it's one that you win, and again, it's the Crucible. So you got the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Wands, so they're both sort of battling kind of cards. But look at the guy's face there. The resolution on there is not backing down. Absolutely rock solid. So that's really nice to see, Virgo. And then there's your balance card again. That's this card here, 6 of Pentacles. So this is the universe doubling down on this reading and saying, this is what I'm trying to tell you. You've got to find the balance here. There's a merchant giving money to one beggar but not to the other. Why is he more deserving? And look at the guy's face. He's not terribly happy about what he's doing. And he's got the scales there to balance out. Who's he to judge whether that person's better or worse? Find the balance, because justice is going to come calling. And then the end result is absolutely fabulous. That's a real nice card to finish on. Last card in the Major Arcana, it's the World. So what's going to happen this week is it's going to be a challenging test that's going to require honesty and tenacity. And using the experience of what's happened in the recent past. The tower's all about, things crumbling down. You built yourself a tower with no door at the bottom, so you couldn't get out. So you've built what looked like a fantastic house. It was actually a fantastic prison. And that talks about, make sure the foundations are correct, because it's all going to come tumbling down, which is a blessing. It's not a negative. I mean, it's a clearing out what doesn't work and making way for what does work. So by striking the balance this week, going through this real crucible test here, being honest and open, this is karma and clarity with the Page of Swords and Justice. And that's your big hitting card as well. Just down here, I think you can feel like you've got the wind knocked out of your sails. It's a bit sort of, what's the point? Well, the point is, you need to be the better person and do it for the greater good. We can't have every week where we're the hero of the team. So if you're a football team, American football team, not everyone's the quarterback. Sometimes the centre saves the day, sometimes the tight end, sometimes the quarterback, So don't worry about what kind of role you sit in. So if this was a work reading, it's to do with, again, going through that test at the top, this crucible here, real, real tough test that you come flying through, strength in droves to actually do it, and then just being clear and honest about it. And again, you're worrying a bit too much about this row here, I think, which is what's the point? And the point is, one of the things about the World card in tarot, the Fool is taking the journey, and this is the last card on the Fool's journey. He comes to the world, he comes to the portal, and the idea is he steps through this portal, and put really bluntly, it either goes congratulations, level 1 complete, or it goes try again, and the Fool goes back around and tries it all again, and he becomes a better person because of it. So this is where you're going to end up this week, Virgo. You're going to end up in a fantastic position where you've had a trial during the week, you've come through it with flying colours, even though you don't think you do. You're going to come through it with flying colours. This could be one of those weeks that you look back on in 2, 3, 4 weeks time or a month's time and go, yeah, that was the week where it all changed, because you went through to this new one, you went through to this new portal. Anyway, that's a really interesting reading. It's going to be an exciting week for sure, Virgo. I will see you for the next one next Sunday. Have a great week. Take care.